Hello, welcome to Everyday Ordinary Extraordinary Men. I am Martina and I'm here with Christina, and we are your podcast hosts. And we are deep divers and avid students of life and powerful facilitators for healing. In real life, I'm a life coach specializing in parent and women empowerment, and I'm also a sound healer.
And I'm an intuitive healer who blends massage therapy and energy work to provide customized holistic services for my clients. Martina and I both love to incorporate crystals, essential oils, angelic Reiki, and intuitive guidance into all of our work.
So let me tell you about the context. Most humans have a lot of preconceived notions and stereotypes about gender. For example, men are tough or silent or forceful, and women are chatty and manipulative and emotional. And in doing that, we put people in a box and often forget to see beyond those labels. And if someone is not fitting the mold, we might call them a tomboy or a sissy. Those and similar labels often cause discord. So what would the world look like when we go beyond our preconceived notions and understand that we are so much more than our gender, that we humans are strong and soft and gentle and deep and powerful and tough and fierce and open, and that qualities are not specific to gender, that we all have all qualities available to express? What would the world look like where we all are free to be who we choose to be and express all of our emotions? When we allow ourselves to express the so-called masculine and feminine qualities within ourselves, we set ourselves free. When we allow others to do the same, when we accept all of them, we create synergy, peace, and harmony. And today we have Robert here. Welcome, Robert. Why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself?
Welcome. And Martina, Christina, thank you so much for the invitation to be on your show. So my name is Robert Goodland. I am a horseman. I am a retired firefighter and paramedic from a career fire department. I currently own a coaching business called The Heart of a Horse. I'm based in Wisconsin, a little town called Mondovi, Wisconsin, just outside of Eau Claire. I'm an author, I'm a speaker, and I'm a father, I'm a boyfriend, I'm sometimes chief cook and bottle washer, sometimes I play tambourines, but I've got my story and my past has been long, which has really given me the opportunity to dig through my own traumas. My book just came out, my memoir. It's called Beneath the Surface, and that was very much the journey that I have been on, has been digging beneath the surface of my life and what is underneath it, and how do I show up in the world, what affects how I show up in the world, where do my beliefs come from, how do I live into my traumas that I don't want to, and where are they interrupting my life, relationships, all that. So it's been a beautiful journey, sometimes difficult, always beautiful, and just learning about myself.
Congratulations on the book.
Thank you very much. It was a very long process. So I'm grateful it just came out in December. So the title Beneath the Surface has a couple different meanings, which I'm sure we'll get into.
Yeah.
So
in every sense. So if we really knew you, what would we know?
If you really knew me, what you would know about me is that I am a very strong individual who is very soft. I wear my heart on my sleeve. You mentioned in the intro that we each carry the feminine and the masculine. And I definitely carry both of those. I was raised, my parents divorced when I was 2. I'm the youngest of 4. And my nearest sibling is 10 years older. So I was 8 when my brother went to college. And so it was just mom and I. So I grew up with, just strict feminine energy. So I didn't have a lot of role models of what male energy looked like. And so if you really knew me, you would know that I'm a very soft hearted, sometimes more than I like to admit, thin skinned individual who cares about people, cares about the environment, cares about injustice. And if you really knew me, I think you would see that each day my goal is to do it better than I did it yesterday. Not from a perfectionist standpoint, but like I'm in a relationship and sometimes I show up great and other times I don't show up so well. And when those times happen, it's how do I again look beneath the surface? Where did this come from? Why did I get triggered or why did I get defensive? Where'd that come from within me? And I can do it better. I can do better. And that's just always been my goal, whether it's showing up for my kids or showing up for a stranger, or it's like, no, I can do better. And I had a quest and I didn't know it. I didn't I never had an example of what this meant, but I just somehow knew because I was so emotional and partly because of my traumas. Um, I'm a childhood sexual assault survivor. I was diagnosed with PTSD following an accident at work at the fire department. And it felt like my emotions were just all over the place. They were scattered, right? I didn't feel that I had control of my emotions at that time. And what I wanted, I viewed emotional intelligence as being strong. That's what it meant to be strong. And what I'd always said was, I want to be so strong, I'm soft.
Mm.
And I had the opportunity to go to Colombia 2 years ago. And I met a beautiful man by the name of Sean Chester, who former military, but didn't talk about it. Hulk of a man. I mean, bulging muscles. He's tall. Like I'm not that tall. I used to be 5'10", and now I'm about 5'9", and if I probably get real honest, I'm probably under 5'9" now, right? As I age. Sean has got to be over 6 feet tall. He's just a hulk of a man. And I'm looking going, that's it. He is so strong physically, mentally, spiritually. He is so strong. He's soft. There. I finally got to see what that actually looked like. Centered. I used to say balanced. I just want to find balance in my life. And somebody pointed out there is no such thing. Something will always be out of balance. And I thought about that. I think what I'm after is centered. How do I be centered? Kind of like surfing a little bit, or if something gets a little off kilter, you just kind of make fine adjustments rather than getting thrown to this side, thrown to that side, because that's what I felt like my emotions were doing for me. How do I get centered? And that's what I saw in Sean was this man who was so strong, soft, and so that's kind of been my goal, not to hide my emotions or hide my feelings, not to not talk about them or push them down, anything like that. But can I get in control of them? Can I be in charge of my emotions? I cannot control the outside world, but can I control how I react to the outside world? And I believe that we can, even though so often we feel like we are at the mercy of outside forces. It's not to say that I don't have emotions or don't get upset about things, but it's like what I've said is, I don't always have control of my first thought. I don't always have control of my first emotion, but I always have control over my first action. So how do I create the pause before I speak or before I act? That's to me where the centeredness comes in. So
Absolutely.
couple things.
Because most of the time we're just, what we see as emotions is us just reacting to what's coming at us. That's not really being, or I don't know how I want to say it, but that's not really being true to your emotions. But when you can stop, be aware, slow down, what is it I'm reacting to? Then you can actually be like, oh, I'm feeling scared or I'm feeling whatever. And then you can have a real talk, right? But if you don't train yourself to have that pause and really think instead of just constantly reacting, then you will constantly be being knocked back and forth.
Yep. And it's so much of that is habit. It's mental patterns and mental habits. It's physical patterns. And how, and as you again brought up in your intro, society says this is how men respond. This is how women respond. And that just becomes the norm because isn't that's just the way that it is, right? And the reality is it's not. And my goal is to respond rather than react. And the more healed that I am, the more that I continue to dig beneath the surface and heal my own traumas, it allows me the opportunity to respond to situations rather than react to them.
Yeah, and just as Sean mirrored that image of what a grounded man looks like, now you're going out and giving that mirror back for other people in the world. So it's
That's
just a
my
really
hope.
beautiful thing.
Thank you. That's my hope.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it is, right? It's like, if I always say, like, we're so lazy with our minds. We're so incredibly lazy. It just happened. Rather than, no, who's running the show here, right?
Yep.
It is. And yes, there might have been an explosion, but then you can take a deep breath and take a step back and say, I'm so sorry. This is not how I wanted it. Like, so it is like the making amends, making amends, cleaning it up, however you want to call it, right?
Yeah.
And then, and in the beginning, if it takes effort, right? It's simple, but it's not easy because we have to become aware. We have to start catching ourselves. Oops, it just, and then there's going to be a point where it's like, where we're at crossroads, and I'm like, okay, so I can go full blown now to the blowout, or I can just take a deep breath and remove myself from the situation. And I know for myself, sometimes I still choose the blow up, right? Sometimes
We're
I still
human.
will go there, right?
We are human.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But it then is a conscious choice.
Yes.
Which is different than just being at the mercy, right? And I've been really sitting with this whole emotional education thing. It's like nobody taught us, right?
No.
And we learned to relate to people through society and through our parents, and they learned from their parents, and they learned from their parents, and they learned from their parents. So there's nobody really to blame.
No, there's not. And when I started after my accident at work and through the healing process of that, and then once I started, so I own a coaching business, like I said, the heart of a horse, and I help people who have experienced trauma. I work with a lot of people in early recovery. I'm in recovery um, from alcohol, and this coming up next month will be 42 years that I've been sober.
Congratulations.
Thank you. And our nervous system, I got really curious about how does our nervous system get trained to respond the way that it does? And the more that I dug into that, and I started to learn that, we have a body, we have a meat suit, right? And we have the brain, and the brain only has one job: keep the meat suit alive. And then we have our mind, and then we have our spirit. And it's the brain that gets trained to keep us alive. And things that look familiar. And Christina, you mentioned something in your intro about, oh, this looked familiar, right? And so then we have this internal emotion and reaction, and we come from that place. That's the brain. That's the amygdala saying, this is a danger before. It looks kind of familiar now. And so it's a danger now. And that didn't happen. I mean, we weren't born that way. That was
Right.
trained into us through life experiences. Sometimes those life experiences are great. If I've been chased by a bear once, it's probably a good thing my nervous system knows what that looks like so that we can avoid it again. But when it had to do with something that happened in our family of origin, and now we're carrying that into our current relationships, and we're responding or reacting rather from a place of wounding, now it's not helpful, that training. And I think, Martina, what you said about we're not doing this over, it's easy, it's not easy. I think it's like a muscle.
Yeah.
The more that you practice it, the easier it gets. It just becomes the new norm that we learn how to show up better.
Mhm.
But in the beginning, it's brand new. And Brene Brown has a wonderful term that I very much appreciate for the first time that we're doing something. And it feels awkward and it feels like we're not doing it right. And we probably aren't because it's the first time. But the more we do it, and the more that we do get control of how we think, and we don't get lazy with our thoughts and our actions, the easier that gets and the more it becomes the new norm. No, this is how I show up. This is my identity. And I'm living into that identity of so strong, I'm soft. Because that's what I'm after.
Yeah.
I can geek
Good
out
stuff.
on the brain and reticular activation.
Absolutely. I mean, in a way, it's like our brain is just a search engine, right? It just similar situations, and it shows it. It keeps showing it to us, and
it searches what we look for.
and
Even inside of the body, like when you have a client who's not responding to regular treatment, it's often a nervous system block or a myofascial emotional trap. And some of those are easy to work out, but if it's a big safety block that someone's put up since they were little kids, some of those can be really, really hard to unravel. But when you can actually get that client to trust you to do that deep work, it's the most profound work you can do. But oftentimes when people are have a shoulder injury and they haven't responded to PT and OT and this and that, I'm like, okay, we got to do the next level of work then, because it's not a physical thing that's going on here.
I went to school, wonderful program. A dear friend of mine now, Melissa Pierce, she's the founder of a program in Colorado, or now in British Columbia, called Touch by a Horse. And so that's where I went to school to learn to be a coach. And so my first 2-year certification was called Equine Gestalt Coaching. So partnering with horses to help people. And then I went back and took the graduate program called Gestalt Coaching Method, which just deepened my ability to coach. And my belief is that when you've got that deep-seated stuff, it's an indication of unfinished business, like you said, back to the family.
Yeah.
And if we can go back and heal what happened back in that, the original, what I call in my world, the original sin, we can heal that. It takes care of so many other things because you've healed that one thing.
Yeah.
Back at the beginning. So, and again, that's why digging beneath the surface and what makes me tick. How come? I'm curious. And curious is a lot easier to deal with than work.
Yeah.
Curious is way more fun. Kids are curious. Well, I'm curious about everything. I'm curious about life. I'm curious about me. So, yeah.
Well, and you're an Aries too, so it's if somebody tells you work, then you're like, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Must I?
But play is a very different story.
Yeah. One of my horse mentors said, don't go out and work with your horse. Go out and play with your horse. Way different energy. And the reason he said it was because you're bringing a different energy to the game.
Yeah.
Well, and that's the other thing, right? If we bring play, there's studies that say that we learn so much faster and so much better if there's play involved than if there's not, right?
Yeah.
It's like it's almost like the brain is more pliable. Again, like brain science,
Yeah.
right? It's like, this is cool,
Absolutely.
right? Cool, really
Work,
cool stuff.
work is rigid. Play is fluid.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, so let's go to the icebreaker, okay?
Yeah.
Tell us a funny, silly, or embarrassing story.
Ooh, funny, silly, or embarrassing. Funny, silly, or embarrassing story. So, a couple Valentine's days ago, this might be, it's a little funny, it's a little embarrassing, and it's also a great story of redemption. So, Valentine's Day, and first off, you got to know that I'm a cowboy, right? Wrangler jeans, cowboy boots, dressing up meant clean pair of jeans. You go out to eat, it's nowhere in my world were reservations a part of my world, right? It's just not where I lived. That is not my girlfriend. Okay. So Valentine's Day is approaching. And I had asked, favorite restaurants, had like three choices in town, favorite restaurants. Cool. About 3 weeks out, she says, have you made reservations? No, we got plenty of time. She didn't say anything. About 2 weeks out, thought I should probably make a reservation. And the first restaurant on the list is called the Informalist in Eau Claire. And so I called, and of course, no, they're booked. So I called number two on the list, booked. Called number three on the list, booked. What I didn't know that I know now is that she was mad the minute I said no, I hadn't made reservations because she knew we weren't getting in anymore. So I was driving back into town one day and I was, how do I fix this? Right. I got some cleanup to do. And it dawned on me that the restaurant is in a hotel. So I drove to the hotel. I said, question, if a guest in your hotel orders a meal, where does the food come from? And they said, well, the Informalist. Awesome. Do you have any rooms? And this is in our town. It's not like we're going out of town. I said, do you have any rooms available for Valentine's Day? Oh, yeah. Great. Give me a room. Because now we can order room service from the restaurant she wanted to go to. Winning.
It's a beautiful story, and it is, right? It's like there, Alison Armstrong, who works on relationships and gender, right?
Mm-hmm.
She talks about that Valentine's Day is the killer of romance because
Mm-hmm.
there's so much expectation.
Yeah.
So much expectation regarding Valentine's Day and what a guy is supposed to do or not do, right? And the day before Valentine's Day is the National Breakup Day because because guys know this is
Mm-hmm.
expected. The
I didn't know
proposal is
that, but I
expected,
believe it. Mm-hmm.
and I'm not
Yeah.
willing to do that, right? So it's good for you. Good for you that you figured it out. That was
Problem solving.
I
really
love you thought outside the box too, and
Yes.
I love that. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
yeah.
So, Robert, what makes you come alive? What are you passionate about, and what do you love about your life?
Oh, we could go on. Truly, we could go on for hours about what I love about my life. Um, I will tell you that today I love everything about my life. I am grateful for the traumas that happened because every single one of them led me to here. It led me to everything that I'm doing today, from my coaching, so my accident at work was a scuba diving accident. I got trapped under the ice during a training dive, was unconscious, not breathing when they pulled me out. And that was the incident that really, I had to start going beneath the surface and finding out what makes me tick if I was going to survive that. Not just that moment under the ice, but the 2 years that followed were really, really tough. But I now know, and that was 2007, so there's some time distance between then and now. Without that, nothing that I have in my life today exists. I'm passionate about coaching. I'm passionate about, my mentor, Melissa, said that when we're coaching, we get a front row seat and a first class ticket to somebody else's life. And walking with people that are in their healing journeys is one of the most profound things that I get to do in my life. I'm passionate about travel because no matter where we go, like we just got into New York today. We're here for a few days. We're looking at going down to Central America in July. I'm not sure if that's where we're going to end up, but we need a break. We need to get away. But everywhere we go, we meet people. Yeah. And whether it's somebody in a coffee shop or at a restaurant that you get just a few minutes to learn something about them, we walk away from every single trip going, oh my God, I'm so glad that we met that couple or that person or whatever. I'm passionate about the outside world. Again, male stereotype, but I'm not a hunter. I try to. I loved being outside. I never felt good about taking a life. Now, I'm not anti-hunting, so guys don't hear that. It just wasn't for me. I didn't have to kill that animal to eat. I had the finances to go to the grocery store. And yeah, I know now I know where my meat comes from, but taking a life just never sat with me. And so again, it goes against that stereotypical male. But I still own my farm where my horses are at, where my business is at. I love, like yesterday, I was out, saw my first fawn of the year. I always have one doe that she throws twins, and I think I saw two fawns, but the grass was kind of tall back there, so I'm not sure. But those kinds of things just excite me. So often I'll look at a sunset or a sunrise and I'm pulling out my phone and snapping pictures. And then your phone says, similar pictures, similar pictures. But to me, it's the first time I saw that one. And this one is the best. This one is the coolest, right? It's the most awe inspiring. So I get really fired up about the world around me. I'm curious about the world around me, the people that are in it. I marvel at people's struggles. When you meet somebody and once you start getting underneath and you start learning where they came from, oh my God, you are amazing. Right? And then you start getting curious, why do some people crumble and some people rise? So I guess what do I get most excited about is life. I was given back the gift of time. December 18th, 2007, as sure as you are that the sun's going to rise tomorrow morning, I was not going to survive. And for whatever reason, I did. And I'm so grateful today. I wasn't then. I was angry. I was really angry. I had come, after the panic subsided, I had come to an incredible sense of peace before they pulled me out. That's the last thing I remember. It's this just overwhelming, indescribable peace. And they saved me to chaos. Every part of my life was in chaos. Today, I love my life. So I'm really grateful that I was saved to the chaos, because the chaos led to the peace that I have today. So yeah, I'm passionate about, in fact, a necklace that I frequently wear says live with passion. And that's, I was given back the gift of time. What am I going to do with it?
Powerful answer.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's like what I hear is the choice that you make every moment, right? And we've all got that choice, but somehow we need those, oh my God, you know, like
Yeah.
being, I always want to say being held at, like at gunpoint, right? For us to really like wake up and say, hey, no, yes. Exactly, exactly.
Yeah. But what I've learned out of that, the universe, and pick how you want to call it, God, universe, spirit, great spirit, you name it. The universe always has my back, even when I didn't think it did. It has always had my back, and I can trust in that. So those things that happen, from the sexual assault to the diving accident to some weird family dynamics and different things, it was all for a plan. It was all. It's so that I could have the life that I have today.
Mhm.
I
And
can't
what a
sit.
blessing.
I can't
What a
sit.
blessing. Yeah.
My sexual assault. The number of clients that I sit with, men and women, that have had sexual boundaries violated, from being touched while they're trying to do their job to kidnappings, with sexual assault. You name it. My experience, my assault is not the same as yours, or somebody else's, right? But I'm going to venture to guess quite a bit of the fallout in our lives is very similar. So the circumstances might be different, but the fallout is similar. I was given a gift when that happened to me, because I have a frame of reference when I sit in my arena with a client and my horse. I have that frame of reference. I can sit with a veteran. Now, my accident, nowhere near what a combat veteran has gone through, right? But the fallout's the same. And I have a frame of reference to be able to sit with my clients. That's a gift.
Yeah.
I can choose, like you said, I can choose to look at those events as, what could my life have been if that wouldn't have happened? Or I can say, wow, because of that, I get to do this. Same event, different frame of mind. And it
Yeah.
took me a long time to get to. This is not something that I had to develop this. I had to work at it. And the more that I found it, the more I fell in love with it. So,
And you needed those experiences to be able to serve the people you're serving, right?
I'm passionate about serving.
Yeah.
That's something else. I love to serve. Love to serve. I love to walk with people.
That's beautiful. So you might have shared about it or not, but I'm just going to ask you, and maybe it's the same or maybe it's different. Tell us about the time you took a chance for love. And it doesn't have necessarily to be romantic. It can be, but it doesn't have to be.
Time I took a chance for love. I believe that any time that we show up in the world vulnerable, whether it's with a partner, whether it's with an animal, our dogs, our cats, our horses, anything, anything that we show up vulnerable to, we are taking a chance. because nothing's permanent. It can all be taken away, and it can all be taken away in an instant. So I think every time that we open our heart, that is love. And if we can bravely do that, courageously do that, we're always taking chances. We're taking a chance that our heart's going to get broke. Again, whether it's a partner. I lost 2 horses in February, my first 2 horses, within 5 days of each other. That was a bad week. That was a heartbreaking week. I wouldn't trade it. I got 20 years with him. But we got to hang out and travel the country. Almost lost him once. We fell down a mountain in Colorado. He slid off the side of a mountain, and it was bad. I thought he was done then. I think any time that we are vulnerable, it's love and take a chance.
Yeah. And you know those 2 horses are still with you, Robert, right?
Oh my gosh, yes.
They're working with you from the other side now.
Yep. They're just riding the other side of the veil. Yeah.
And one of my things that I, like every so often I dive into is like, we think we can protect ourselves from heartbreak by shielding, by closing out our heart, right? But
yeah,
it doesn't make a difference.
But the minute
what it does is it constricts us in our expression, but it doesn't protect us.
Correct.
Ever.
Correct. Ever. It's a myth. It's a myth that we can shield ourselves from heartbreak.
Yeah. Yeah. But what we wind up doing is just pushing away love that's coming at us instead. And
I can build this really beautiful wall around me and my heart. And it might lessen the chances of me getting my heart broke, but it's pretty lonely on the side of the wall.
Yeah.
Nobody can get in. And that was a lesson I had to learn. I didn't know I was doing that till the relationship that I'm in now. I didn't know that I was wanting all of that and holding it back at the same point out of fear. And finally, I just had to say, you know what? No, I'm stopping. If this is what I want, this risk comes with what I want. So if I truly want a heart-centered relationship, you get them both. You get the heart-centered relationship and you get the risk that it's not going to work out. And the lesson for me was, can I feel pain and be okay? Can I feel betrayed and be okay? All the negatives, pick all your negative emotions that you want. Can I experience those? Because I'm going to, because I'm part of the human race. Can I experience those and be okay, or know that I'm going to be? That was the mental gymnastics to go through to get to that. And when I started to find that is when I started to realize that I can love without fear of being hurt. No, it's not, I don't want to get hurt, but I'm not going to live my life being afraid of getting hurt, because then I'm not living my life.
I'm gonna say, yeah, everybody's losing in that scenario, right? Yourself the most, but everybody's losing because they don't get you. They don't get to have the full expression of you.
They don't get the authentic me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is way better.
So good.
Yeah.
So, Robert, if you had a magic wand and could give people any quality, what would you give them and why?
Awareness. Because I believe awareness, when things move from the blind spot into your awareness, that's the first step in healing. That's what I would give. Ding.
Ding. Let's do please ding. It's interesting because we had this conversation before, and I'm not sure I was clear when I said it's like sometimes like the awareness is the first step, and sometimes we only become aware after the issue happened, right? But by just putting our attention to what we want to change, sometimes it's like, oops, it just passed. Uh-oh,
Yep.
okay. Oops, it just passed, until it gets to the point where you can catch it in the moment. Or
Yep.
and then there's going to be a moment where you can catch it a few moments before, right?
Amen.
Yes.
That's the way that it works.
Yes.
The first parts, you have no clue that you're doing it. Then you have a clue that you did it. Then you start to be able to catch it beforehand.
Yeah.
The first part of that is you have to know that you did it. Even if it was yesterday or last week or last year, you have to know that you didn't show up well or there's something that needs healing.
Yeah. And
awareness is the first thing.
It's a practice over and over and over and over again. Oops, it just passed by. Oops.
Yeah. I had a great example of that in my life where I wasn't aware of it and something a trait that I would do in an argument and I didn't know I was doing it. I thought I was just, being communicative. Got brought to my attention that no, that's me taking over the conversation and my partner has something they need to talk about and then I start talking about how I feel about what they're talking about. Pretty soon all we're doing is talking about how I feel. My partner goes, yep, whatever. And then when it got brought to my attention, I had to sit and honestly look at it and go, yeah, actually, I do that. And the next time that it came up, I did it. But I knew it instantly. I'm like, oh, I did it again. The universe again had my back because it gave me the very same conversation with the same person the next day. Did it. I did it better. And it was a game changer. The minute that I figured out, I can think it, don't do it, just listen. And in my head, I'm saying, listen to understand, not listen to respond. Just listen to understand.
Listen to understand. That's beautiful.
Yep.
And I think in what you're saying, like, and I say like it's the, the Britney Spears song, "Oops, I Did It Again," right? And it has a sexual connotation, and it's not what I'm talking about. It's just like being playful about it and being gentle about it. Oops, I did it again. Hello.
Yeah, and I was so grateful for that next day because she finished, and I just said, "Do you feel hurt?" She looked at me, and she said, "Yeah." And I said, "Thank you for sharing. I truly appreciate that you shared that with me." And I turned around and walked away. I walked back into the living room. She went, "Wait, are you going to tell me how you feel?" And I said, "You didn't ask." She said, "Well, I'm asking now." I'm like, "Great. Yes, this is how I feel about this." But I did not take over the conversation. And that was a big change for me. Because I want to talk about how I feel. I easily talk about how I feel. Apparently I was doing it at not the right time. Because there is a right time. My partners weren't feeling heard. And that's really important that we create that safe space for our partners, that they feel safe to share and they feel safe to share things that they're actually probably very afraid to share because they're afraid of the reaction that they're going to get from their loved one. And when that loved one can just hold space, be in contact, and hear them, like really hear what they're saying, man, that's a gift. That's a gift. If you can learn how to do that with a partner, I know when I receive that from my partner, man, that feels good to be seen, to be heard, to be not necessarily even validated, but it's just, I got to get this out without judgment. That's
what a gift. And I think that's what we all want, right? I think as humans, that's what we want. We want to be seen, and we want to be heard, and we want to be appreciated for our own,
Contributions.
contributions. Yes,
It's one
whatever.
of the human needs. We all need to know that our life matters. Significance. Do we matter in the world?
Yeah, beautiful. So the last question:
Yes.
what is the legacy that you want to leave? Like, what do you want people to remember about you?
What do I want people to remember about me?
Mhm.
I cared. I tried. I may not have always succeeded, but I cared.
I'd like to add that you loved hard.
Yeah. Yep. And freely. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Beautiful. So time to brag about your business, Robert. Let
Oh,
people know
terrific.
what you offer, how they can reach you.
Absolutely. So my coaching business is The Heart of a Horse. And my website is theheartofahorse.com. I'm on Facebook and Instagram, Robert Goodland on Facebook and R Goodland on Instagram. Can't miss me. There's a beautiful Palomino mare in my profile picture. Um, my my book, my memoir that just came out, Beneath the Surface, a memoir, is available on Amazon, Goodreads, Barnes and Noble. I think I saw you can order it from Books a Million too. My
Awesome.
email is robert@theheartofahorse.com. My business is I walk with people that have experienced traumas in their life that are still kind of jumping up and biting them. And we do our best, my horses and I do our best to heal those traumas so that they can live the lives that they want to live. I work with people in early recovery, partner with my girlfriend's business, Eau Claire Silver Living. She has 3 houses, 2 women's houses and 1 men's house for folks in early recovery, some getting out of prison, some just getting out of treatment. And we bring all of these programs, and we are totally into the woo woo. We bring crystals, we bring energy healers, we bring ice baths, we bring, I think last night they were learning self defense. It's not a 12-step program, that's just one program. There's many recovery programs available, but my role with the organization is helping them heal their traumas so that they don't have to live a life that they want to escape from.
Mm.
My,
And they don't have to do it alone.
and they do not have to do it alone. Community for us is such a huge thing. And when you can find your tribe, it's
So powerful and so beautiful.
It's a very powerful thing. So I do online coaching, Zoom coaching as well for folks that are distant. I have folks come in from out of state, stay for a few days and do sessions a few days at a time. People want to do that, but yeah, that's what
Fantastic. Fantastic. So if any of that speaks to you, all the links for Robert will be in the notes of the podcast. So please reach out. Please check out his book. And thank you, Robert, so much for being here with us today. I wish we could go on for hours with this conversation. Thank you for the amazing service work that you are doing in the world. It is a better world because you're in it. Um, Thank you for your huge heart because I feel the love here in St. Louis on our Zoom call, and it's just been a blast being here with you today. So thank you so much for your generosity of your time and spirit. Thank you everyone here for listening. If you love this, please leave us a review. Please share with your friends, and please remember, you are extraordinary and you rock. Have a wonderful day.
Bye for now. Robert, do you want to say goodbye?
I would love to say goodbye and truly thank you guys, the two of you. Thank you for the invitation. Thank you for what you do. The more that we can spread the message of the human experience and in its totality, not keeping it in a box. I appreciate what you guys are doing more than you could say, and it has been an honor to be on your show. Thank you for
Same.
giving me the opportunity to share. And to everybody who's listening, thank you. You are not alone.